Greetings everyone, DonTheCrown here. We just got the Slayer Ascendancy drop here. And I want to go over this real quick. And yeah, this is my very first look. I have no idea really what's going on here yet. So I'll probably be referring over to the current Slayer Ascendancy stuff to make sure that I'm like getting all the right information. The first thing I noticed is that the shape has changed. Slayer's always kind of been like the crab ascendancy, where it'd have like these two arms that go up and then two little legs that go down. Those are gone, so there's at least one more additional node. But let's take a look here. Moving over here to the number 1. I believe that normally all of the minor nodes coming off of Slayer were slightly different, but they had like attack speed and damage with two-handed weapons for the most part. And so you see here, this is attack damage and critical strike chance. That's interesting because I don't think that Slayer had any crit before at all, which is definitely a little different. But Overwhelm, base critical strike chance for attacks with weapons is 8%. 10% to critical strike multiplier per nearby enemy, up to plus 100%. And then nearby enemies have minus 30% critical strike multiplier. Okay. That is actually really cool. So this allows you to go crit on maces. This lets you go crit on almost anything. And really lets you ramp up on things like daggers or claws, not daggers, or daggers or swords, which have really good crit multipliers on the tree. The problem is though, if you're doing like maces, for example, there's not a lot of support for them being crit on their passive tree, but that's actually really cool. You could definitely go like crit mace build with Slayer. So maybe they're trying to make Slayer like the next, like more of a champion style crit build. This number 3 node, you're going to attack damage and attack speed. And there's no two-hander here, I see. And Headsman is 10% more damage if you're killed recently, can't take reflective physical damage, and 20% more damage against unique enemies. That is pretty good. They've reduced the more damage if you kill recently. Headsman used to have 20%. It also had increased area of effect. That's gone. You do get more damage against unique enemies. So this is actually kind of keeping it the same against unique enemies. However, like you get to have this up during bossing. Even if you haven't killed recently, you have the full, like you get big damage, and if you are killing ads during that time, you get a lot of damage. Number 5, attack damage and attack speed into Bane of Legends. You now call enemies that have 20% or lower HP, which is exactly what it used to have before. You gain 20% increased attack speed for 20 seconds when you kill a rare or unique enemy, which is different. It used to have Onslaught, so you used to gain Onslaught for 20 seconds. So that's a little different. Actually, they pretty much made it so that you get on. So you also get the 20% movement speed. So they actually, this is a nice little buff. It's basically the exact same Bane of Legends. However, now you get like kind of a extra onslaught effect in terms of the attack speed and the movement speed. No cast speed, obviously, whenever you kill a rare or unique enemy. And you do get that movement speed bonus whenever you kill an enemy. So this is going to be really nice for Cyclone as well. So the attack speed is good for rares and uniques, and then the movement speed is for enemies. This isn't the more multiplier that Gladiator has, but that's still a lot of movement speed. 20% movement speed, pretty much up all the time. That is definitely nice. Moving over to the other side of the tree, we're going to have attack damage and attack damage leached as life. And that is a little bit less attack damage than what used to be there. Moving into number 8, which is Endless Hunger. 20% of overkill damage is leached as life. And you cannot be stunned while leeching. You're immune to bleeding while leeching. That is very close to what we had before. The cannot be stunned, I don't believe it was there before. So they've re-added back these cannot be stunned. The Brutal Fervor, increase attack speed while leeching. Life leech effects are not removed at full life. That is basically one of the big standards of this. Big standards of just playing Slayer in general. Attack speed, life leech, attack damage, and reduced damage taken while leeching. Overall, that is decent. However, Brutal Fervor used to also have 100% increased total recovery per second from life leech. So kind of that like crazy leech is not like going to be there anymore. And you are getting a little bit different types of damage. You're getting attack speed. There's 15% that wasn't there before, and that attack damage used to only be 30%. It used to be 30% increased damage. Now it's 50% increased attack speed, and you're a little tankier while you're leeching. So far these like primary nodes that like most people would take, the 6 and 10, are looking pretty good. Number 12, which is increased global accuracy rating. It gives you +2 melee weapon and unarmed range. It also gives you 5% increased area per enemy killed recently, up to 50%, and deal up to 15% more melee damage to enemies based on proximity. So this is like get close to things and deal damage to them. This could be really nice with Cyclone, like 50% area of effect is kind of ridiculous. This node used to give you basically melee splash and 20% increased area effect. This can give you a lot more than that now. If you've killed at least 5 monsters, you'll be bypassing that. You need to do more damage to things that are like really close to you. Then moving into 13 and 14, attack damage, endurance charge, and frenzy charge duration. And the 14 is actually very interesting. Increased frenzy endurance charge duration, increased frenzy charge duration, and your maximum endurance charge is equal to your maximum frenzy charges. But there's no way to generate them. It's very strange. There are a lot of ways to get frenzy charges though in the game in terms of items or in terms of just going on the tree basically. I'm gonna go look at frenzy charges right now on the wiki. There's, I believe, a lot of items that are gonna give this to you. There we go. Precursors, emblems all over the place. Yeah, so precursors, emblems could give you stuff. Dark ray vectors give you +1, and then ons might take them away. But definitely be like able to put a different tree kind of together, because most of the frenzy charges are in kind of the lower part of the tree, whereas the endurance charges kind of go all the way up to Templar. So it seems like you can get a lot of area. Like honestly, there's a lot of good stuff here, and I don't really feel like any of these nodes are terribly bad. Like generating endurance charges and frenzy charges isn't really all that difficult. But like you wouldn't be able to like burn these using Tectonic Slam like you would be able to do with a Chieftain. Like you're not going to be generating endurance charges or frenzy charges with Masterful Form. That's just not going to happen. This just allows you to have more endurance charges without having to invest in that. And so if you had, so if you had like 5 maximum frenzy charges, you would have 5 maximum endurance charges. You still would need to generate them somehow through either like a Warcry or curses or things of that nature. But there's a lot of like very interesting things. I'm expecting to see a lot of builds come out with a lot of different things. I definitely think that Bane of Legends, which is the number 6 node up here, is looking pretty cool for just cycloning through stuff, because you pretty much have like 20% movement speed all the time, 20% attack speed pretty much all the time when you're clearing a map, because it's 20 seconds. This is like the equivalent of getting adrenaline, which kind of makes me wonder if they're going to nerf adrenaline on champion. And you also kill enemies like a little bit faster with culling. Also, I really am interested about how impact shakes out, because you will see that like this +2 melee weapon and unarmed range, if that's the equivalent of the old impactful, that's a really good sign for like melee splash in general. So pretty interesting there. Obviously Overwhelm I think has a lot of potential, and I think that you would probably want to like combine that either maybe with like, I think 10 is like an always take for the Overleech, even though it's not as good as it used to be. So you might combine that maybe with like a Masterful Form, or maybe number 12, or maybe even number 4. So there's a lot of like really interesting options. I still think 10 is almost mandatory, and it makes me wonder if like they can potentially in the future like make it so that there's less like mandatory like passives and like more just like cool flavor. But the Slayer Overleech has been a big thing for a very long time. I'm interested to see how this shakes out. I definitely will probably be rolling a Slayer this upcoming league, since I'm planning to play every single one of the new Ascendancy classes, planning on trying to kill Uber Elder with every single melee skill. So yeah, definitely very interested in this, trying out a whole bunch of different things. I think having Overwhelm on the table now opens up a lot of builds and a lot of weapons. It'll be interesting to see weapons that don't have critical strike chance baked into them, how they become more available here. Because like right now, if you're like multi-modding a sword, for example, on your prefixes, you need like physical percentage, flat physical, shaper percentage, if you can do that. And then you need to have attack speed, and you need to have crit chance. And so this allows you to potentially, like on an axe that is like really, really nice, but it doesn't have any sort of crit at all, like it has like the Elder mod or something, you can replace that with something else like this, and it's pretty freaking nice. But yeah, I hope you guys like this. If you guys think I missed anything, or think that there's combos that are really, really OP, please feel free to leave those in the comments. I've been trying to check those out, and super excited for this upcoming patch. You also always hit me up at twitch.tv/DonTheCrown, trying to stream daily for a while now, and hope you guys have a great one, and thank you very much.